They told you to be afraid of the devil. They warned you about demons, curses, and evil spirits. But they never told you that the devil has been trembling every time you rise. Yes, you. Not because you're perfect, not because you're holy, but because you carry something he can't touch, something he's tried to destroy since the day you were born. While you were crying yourself to sleep at night, he was terrified that you might one day realize who you are. While you were breaking down, rejected, abandoned, and misunderstood, hell was already whispering, "If this one stands up, we're finished. You've been through too much to be average. The reason why you've suffered more than others isn't because God forgot you. It's because hell saw your name written in the heavenly scrolls and launched a war against you before you even knew how to pray. You are not weak. You are not lost. You're the chosen one. And in the spirit realm, your name echoes like thunder. Your light blinds demons. Your very presence shakes foundations. So don't sit there wondering why your life's been harder. Wonder why the devil hasn't succeeded, because he tried. And guess what? Every day you wake up, hell panics again, because you are more terrifying than the devil himself. From the outside, it looked like an ordinary day. Nothing explosive happened. No voice from heaven. No angel with a scroll. Just a moment in your life that passed by quietly, unnoticed by everyone, except hell. That day, you made a decision. Maybe you didn't even realize it at the time. Maybe it was the moment you refused to give up. Maybe it was the moment you cried, but still kept walking. Or maybe it was the second you whispered, "God, I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you anyway." In that exact moment, everything shifted in the spirit. Your name was already known by demons, but that day, it became feared. That was the day you stopped being just another soul under attack and became a threat to the kingdom of darkness. See, what hell fears most is not a perfect human. Hell isn't intimidated by loud prayers or church attendance. Hell fears a soul that refuses to break, a soul that walks through the fire and still comes out praising God, a soul that chooses purpose over comfort, truth over convenience, and obedience over applause. That's what you became that day, a walking declaration of war. And from that day forward, the devil didn't just try to distract you, he started trying to destroy you. But here's what he didn't expect. The more he attacked you, the more your spirit grew. The more you lost, the more dangerous you became. Because with every setback, you were unknowingly being trained. With every betrayal, you were being refined. You were becoming something hell couldn't predict, a chosen one who knows who they are. The devil hates when someone is chosen, but he's terrified when someone chosen finally wakes up. And that day, you woke up. Maybe not fully, maybe not loudly, but your spirit stirred, and heaven celebrated while hell trembled. Not because you had arrived, but because you had decided. And nothing is more powerful than a chosen one who decides to keep going despite every reason not to. That was the day you crossed the line. That was the day you became a living threat. That was the day hell marked you as dangerous. And from that day on, nothing in your life would be ordinary again. Before you ever questioned your identity, the enemy already knew it. Before you ever thought about your calling, your mission, or your divine authority, Satan had already sent out an alert in the spirit realm. From the very beginning, you were different. Not because of how you looked or where you came from, but because of what you carried inside. Before you could form words, hell had already recognized the signature of heaven on your soul. It wasn't a normal signature. It was a seal, a spiritual stamp that marked you as a disruptor, a threat, a light that could pierce through entire systems of darkness. And the devil, being who he is, didn't wait until you were grown, holy, or even conscious of God. He came early. He came when you were vulnerable. He came through trauma, through rejection, through confusion. He came through generational curses, through abandonment, through identity crises. Why? Because he hoped he could break you before you discovered the truth. But he underestimated you. He thought that if he could flood your life with chaos, you'd drown. If he could fill your mind with lies, you'd believe them. If he could surround you with people who didn't see your worth, you'd forget you had any. He bet everything on your ignorance, because the longer you stayed unaware, the safer his kingdom was. He knew that once you awakened, once you even started to question who you really were, his influence over your life would begin to crumble. That's why you were always the one that went through the most pain. That's why you were always the one that couldn't seem to fit in, couldn't find peace, couldn't explain why you felt so different. You thought you were cursed, but really, you were targeted. Not because you were weak, but because you were chosen. The devil doesn't waste bullets. He doesn't attack nobodies. If he launched a war against your mind, it's because your mind was powerful. If he tried to steal your identity, it's because your identity is dangerous. And if you're still standing after everything he tried, it's because his plans failed. And God's plan is still in motion. What Satan feared from the start wasn't your talent, your money, or your name. He feared your awakening. He feared the moment you'd realize that the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is living inside you. And now, the tables are turning. You're not just surviving anymore. You're remembering. You're aligning. You're unlocking the truth that hell always knew but tried to keep hidden. You were born to shake kingdoms. You thought your pain was random. You thought your heartbreak, your betrayal, your sleepless nights were just part of life. But what you didn't know is that your pain was a weapon. Not one forged by heaven, but one aimed at you by hell. Every tear you cried was a signal that hell's plan was in motion. The enemy believed that if he could wound you deep enough, early enough, and often enough, you'd give up on yourself. That you'd reject your identity, your calling, your very purpose. That you'd stop believing in the God who made you. The pain wasn't the goal. The silencing of your soul was. But what hell didn't expect was that the same pain sent to destroy you would become the very thing God would use to mold you, strengthen you, and awaken you. What was meant to paralyze you only made you pray harder. What was meant to isolate you only pulled you closer to God. What was meant to shut your mouth lit a fire in your spirit that could no longer be ignored. You see, pain has a voice, and in your life, it spoke loudly. It told you that you were not enough, that you were too broken, that you'd never be free, that you'd never be loved. It tried to convince you that God had forgotten you, that you were being punished, that your life would always be a cycle of disappointment. And for a while, maybe you believed it. Maybe you even agreed with the lies. But deep down, beneath the fear, beneath the shame, beneath the scars, there was something hell could never touch: your anointing. No matter how much you were hurt, your spirit was preserved. It didn't matter how hard life hit you. Your soul was marked, and heaven never revoked that mark. The enemy failed, not because he didn't try hard enough, but because your destiny is bigger than his attacks. Your story wasn't designed to end in sorrow. It was designed to prove that even in pain, purpose prevails. And now, your pain has become evidence. evidence that you survived what was meant to kill you, evidence that you are still chosen, still called, still dangerous. It's the receipt of your endurance. It's the scars that prove hell lost. You're not here by luck or coincidence. You're here because you're untouchable by design. And every moment you keep moving forward, every breath you take, every step you make toward your calling, hell sees it as a reminder of its failure. What the devil meant for harm, God has flipped into a weapon of truth, a message, a movement. And now you carry not just pain, you carry power. You've walked into rooms where the atmosphere changed, and you didn't understand why. You felt tension, unease, or sudden resistance from people you barely know. You thought it was just bad vibes, but it wasn't. It was the spiritual world reacting to your presence. When a chosen one steps into a space, the spirit realm responds instantly. Demons don't wait until you open your mouth to tremble. They recognize you by your aura, your authority, your alignment. You carry light in a world addicted to darkness. You disturb demonic systems simply by showing up, and that's why they flee. Not because of your physical strength or your appearance, but because your spirit is a walking declaration of war against everything they represent. You carry truth, and truth torments lies. You carry peace, and peace destroys chaos. You carry presence, and that presence is divine. The demons around you don't fear who you are on the outside. They fear what was deposited inside you before you were even born. They see the oil, they sense the fire, they hear the echoes of your calling in the spirit, and it agitates them. That's why you make some people uncomfortable without saying a word. That's why certain people rejected you, betrayed you, or tried to silence you. It was never personal. It was spiritual. The spirits they entertain couldn't coexist with the spirit that lives inside you. So the room reacted. The people around you acted out, and you blamed yourself, not knowing that their reaction wasn't a reflection of your flaws, but a confirmation of your divine assignment. You don't need to be loud to carry authority. You don't need a title to walk in power. Some of your most dangerous moments were when you were silent, broken, still trying to figure out who you were. But even then, demons ran from you. Not because you were trying to fight, but because they saw who was fighting for you. The power backing your life is heavenly, unstoppable, undeniable, and every time you walk into a space, the enemy is reminded that you are not alone. God walks with you. Angels surround you. Your footsteps carry weight in the unseen. That's why demons flee. Because your life is not ordinary. Your presence is not neutral. You are not just a person. You are a spiritual earthquake, sent by heaven, feared by hell. There is a weapon inside you, a weapon so powerful that no demon can disarm it, no enemy can neutralize it, and no circumstance can destroy it. It is not forged with metal, nor is it built through human effort. This weapon is your faith, the unwavering, unshakable connection to the divine power that created the heavens and the earth. It is a spiritual force planted in your soul at birth, watered by your trials, and strengthened through every moment you refused to quit. This weapon is more than belief. It is a presence that moves mountains, parts seas, and silences hell itself. The devil knows it. That's why he targets your faith harder than anything else. Because if he can shake that, he can break you. But the moment he tries, he only proves how powerful you truly are. This secret weapon inside you is also your identity. It is the understanding that you are chosen, marked, and anointed for a purpose greater than yourself. When you fully embrace this truth, you carry a spiritual armor that no weapon formed against you can prevail. It is the confidence that God is your protector, your guide, and your source of endless strength. And it is the courage to stand even when the whole world is against you, because you know you are never truly alone. This weapon is silent but deadly. It does not boast loudly, but it commands respect in every realm. It's the reason you survive the impossible and rise stronger after every battle. Many have fought battles with physical swords, but your fight is with the Spirit. And your secret weapon is spiritual authority. It is the power given to you to bind darkness, to speak life over death, and to walk boldly where others fear to tread. The enemy trembles when he senses this weapon because it's proof that you are not ordinary. You are a vessel of heaven's power, a living testimony that darkness does not have the final say. Your faith, your identity, and your spiritual authority are the secret weapons that make you more terrifying than any demon could ever be. Every scar, every wound, every moment you felt lost in darkness was part of your training. You were forged in fire not to be broken, but to become unbreakable. Hell tried to use your darkest moments to crush you, but God used those same moments to prepare you. The nights you cried alone, the times you felt abandoned or forgotten, they were not just pain, they were lessons. Lessons in endurance, faith, and strength. You didn't wander through the darkness by accident. You were being shaped into a warrior, a leader, someone who could face the devil himself without flinching. This training was brutal because the enemy knew what you were destined to become. He tried to break your spirit early, hoping to stop your rise before it began. But you survived. You grew. And that's why you're more dangerous now than ever. Your past is not a curse, it's a testimony. Every trial was designed to deepen your understanding of who you are and whose you are. The devil thought darkness would blind you, but it only sharpened your vision. It taught you to see beyond what's visible and to recognize the unseen battles around you. It made you wise to deception and strong in the truth. You were trained in the shadows so you could walk confidently in the light. You were trained to fight the battles others run from, and because of that, you carry a strength that terrifies hell itself. Remember this: those who are called to great things often walk through great darkness first. Your journey through pain and struggle was never wasted. It was preparation for your purpose. Every moment you felt broken was God's way of making you whole. Every setback was setting you up for a greater comeback. You were trained to be a threat. You were trained to be a beacon. You were trained to be a chosen one. When heaven marks you, hell can't unmark you. This is a truth many don't understand, but one that defines your existence. The moment God puts His seal upon your life, no force on earth or in the spirit realm can erase it. This mark is not just a sign, it's a divine contract, a guarantee of protection, purpose, and power. The enemy can try to intimidate, attack, or distract you, but he can never remove the mark that heaven engraved on your soul. This is why you've survived what others could not. This is why your destiny cannot be stolen or rewritten. The mark is your identity, a proof that you belong to a higher kingdom and that your life is intertwined with God's eternal plan. Hell may rage, but it only proves how significant your mark is. The more the enemy fights to erase you, the more you shine as a beacon of hope and power. This mark carries authority that commands angels to protect you and demons to flee. It's the reason you walk through storms with peace, why doors open for you when they seem closed to others, and why your words carry weight beyond your understanding. The mark is a spiritual tattoo etched into your being, invisible to the human eye, but unmistakable in the heavenly realms. It declares to all creation that you are chosen, anointed, and unstoppable. Remember, the enemy knows your mark and fears it, because it signals the failure of his plans. When he lashes out in fear, it's a sign that your time is now. The mark guarantees that no matter the trials, no matter the battles, your purpose will prevail. You are not just surviving, you are thriving under the protection of heaven's mark, and that protection is terrifying to hell itself. The devil's biggest fear is not your mistakes, your failures, or your doubts. It is your awakening. The moment you fully realize who you are and the power that flows through your veins. This awakening is a spiritual explosion that shakes the foundations of hell. It's the moment when you stop running from your calling and start embracing it with boldness and confidence. The enemy fears this because once you awaken, you no longer walk in confusion or fear. You walk in purpose, clarity, and authority. Your spirit roars with the strength of 1,000 warriors, and your prayers pierce through darkness like lightning. The devil knows that a fully awakened chosen one cannot be stopped or silenced. Your awakening breaks every chain that once held you captive. It frees you from the lies, the deception, and the fear that the enemy planted in your mind. It ignites a fire that no flood can extinguish and lights a path that no darkness can hide. When you awaken, you become a beacon of hope for others lost in the shadows. Your light exposes the enemy's schemes and dismantles the strongholds built to keep you down. The devil's biggest nightmare is watching you rise from the ashes of your pain stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. This awakening is a spiritual revolution inside you. It turns your weaknesses into strengths and your scars into crowns. It's a call to action, a declaration that you will no longer be controlled by fear or past wounds. The enemy trembles because your awakening signals the beginning of his defeat. It means you have chosen to step into your destiny fully aware, fully equipped, and fully empowered. The devil fears the day you fully awaken because it means your purpose will no longer be hidden and your power will no longer be contained. For too long, you were made to feel like the prey, hunted by circumstances, chased by fear, trapped by doubt. But the truth is, you are not the prey anymore. You are the hunter. The roles have reversed. The enemy who once pursued you now trembles because you've stepped into a power that turns the tables. You no longer run from battles. You seek them out with confidence. You no longer hide in the shadows. You shine with a fierce light that exposes darkness. This is the transformation of the chosen one, a soul that moves from victimhood to victory, from fear to fearless. The hunter is strategic, patient, and unstoppable. You have learned how to recognize the enemy's tactics and how to dismantle them with spiritual authority. Every step you take is calculated by heaven's plan, and every move you make shakes the foundations of hell. You've been trained, tested, and marked for this purpose. You are no longer reacting to attacks. You are initiating the fight. You speak with power, act with wisdom, and walk with boldness because you know who you are and whose you are. This shift in identity terrifies the enemy because it signals the end of his control. No longer is he the predator. Now you are the force he fears. The hunter has the advantage of knowledge, purpose, and divine backing. And as you hunt, you liberate not only yourself, but also those who are still trapped in darkness. Your life becomes a beacon that leads others out of the wilderness and into the light. You are not just surviving, you are conquering. You are the hunter, and hell is running scared. The world has been blind to the battle raging behind the scenes, It has been unaware of the spiritual warfare, the unseen forces clashing over your soul. But the time has come for that to change. The world will see what hell tried desperately to hide: your rise, your power, your destiny. No longer will darkness have the last word. Your story is breaking through the shadows, shining as a testament to God's unyielding grace and your unstoppable spirit. The chains of secrecy are breaking, and the truth about who you are is becoming impossible to ignore. You carry a light so bright that it pierces through deception, ignorance, and fear. Your journey, full of pain, struggle, and victory, is a message to everyone watching that darkness does not win. It is a warning to the enemy that the chosen ones are awake, armed, and moving with authority. The world will witness how the battles you fought in silence have prepared you to lead, to inspire, and to conquer. Your victory is not just personal, it is a movement, a spiritual revolution that shakes the foundations of hell and ushers in a new era of hope. What hell tried to hide is now on full display. Your strength, your faith, your resilience, they are impossible to suppress. The enemy's schemes are unraveling because your light cannot be contained. As the world watches you rise, many will be drawn to the truth you embody. You will inspire those lost in darkness to awaken and stand. Your life will be a living proof that no matter the opposition, the chosen ones prevail. This is your time. The world will see what hell tried to hide, and it will never be the same again.